Is this thing live? Are we live? It looks like we are. What is happening, everybody? Hope everybody's having a fantastic, whatever day you're watching this. Live on Motor Chat, aka Mopar Chat. If you got questions about your build, primarily talking about Mopar stuff on this channel, but whatever you're working on, let us know what you're up to. Always good to chat, whatever kind of builds you're working on. Usually talking about Mopar stuff, but I will bleed into other brands and into other topics. But I got to tell you guys, it's Mopar Chat tonight. If you didn't pick up by the thumbnail, the new Charger EVs are starting to hit dealerships. And one of the dealerships in Houston is already offering up a lease deal on the new Charger, Scat Pack even. And we got to talk about this. This is a big deal because now that numbers are starting to circulate, it's going to become very, well, let's just say telling, to be polite, as far as what the value proposition of this car is actually going to be. Will it be worth buying? Will it be worth any kind of investment whatsoever? I want to dive into that. So I'm going to let some of you guys make it to the party. DM is already in. Got the flex and the ball guy with the glasses on. I like it. So we're going to be talking about the new Charger. Kind of do a little bit of speculation again as far as why the Mustang can't seem to gain any altitude. Will Camaro ever make it back? I don't know about that, but a lot of folks would like for them to. So lots to talk about and a lot of fun stuff to get into as well. Is there going to be a Hemi coming back? There's a lot of folks that are chatting that up. Is it even a viable engine option anymore? We'll see. But the thing is that, well, there's some politics that come into play here too. So looks like X is in. What is up? Saying what up, Professor B and chat. Got some Waffle House. Nice. My man got the Waffle House. Scattered, smothered, and covered, baby. That's what is up. 2 orders of toast, 1 extra side order of the pancakes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Give me the Browns. Give me the Aggies. Give me the Bakey. Oh my God, the Waffle House. Yes. I don't know that anything hits harder than Waffle House, especially not at 3 o'clock in the morning. Ask your boy how he knows. Listen, back in the day, back in the roll racing that thing days, yeah, that would have been a stop off. Okay. So, especially I-10 deep on the east side of I-10 in Houston, hit the Waffle House up, man, about 3 o'clock in the morning after you've been making some hard hits, doing the 100 to 200 mile an hour hits. Yeah, eggy, baby. Love it. Hit that toast with some pepper and some bacon with the runny ass eggs. Oh my God, dog. Oh, I'm just, hold up, man. I got to get yes, shit. It doesn't get any better than that. And then, okay, so the trick. So where my OG Waffle House crew at? All right, so here's what you do. If you didn't know, here's how it went down. So when you showed up, hold up. You show up at Waffle House, you got to have Texas Tough, double zipper, freezer, gallon bags. If you know what this is for already, don't spoil it. This is what you do. When you get your eggies and your toast, what you do is you make your eggy toast sandos, right? Double buttered, get your and Tabasco sauce, and if they got it, Cholula. But you always, if you know you're going to be hitting the Waffy, you always have your Cholula on tap. And I don't have any. You always have your Cholula on tap just in case they ran out. So what do? You get your toast and your eggs. You just scarf all that up, but you always get roadies, okay? Don't mess this up. You're going to wish like hell you didn't, because you get your roadie toast, your eggs, get all of that, get that in a box. In the bag usually is what they've given in, but you always put it in a Ziploc, because this is what's going to keep it from getting all over everything. And if you did it right, you get your toast and you get all that stuff separate and you keep that in here so it doesn't get all soggy on the way home. That's how you do Waffle House right. You always have a double order. Don't ever do a single order at Waffle House. If you leave Waffle House empty-handed, you get the back of the hand when you get home, baby. That's what's up, man. So, yes, real talk. Do not play when it comes to the WH, man. I am OG status when it comes to that establishment. So, what happened to us? Oh, talking about Mopar stuff. So we've got the new Charger that is hitting. And we got some folks in. We got a little bit of folks in. We got folks in. We can talk about this. I've got to get your take on this, though, guys. You saw the thumbnail. So locally, there's a dealership, good folks too, Mac Hike is the name of the dealership, that is offering up the new Charger at a $400 a month lease. That's the Scat Pack. Let that marinate for a minute. The Scat Pack, you know, the $83,000 MSRP Hot Rod EV is allowing a $2,000 buy-in and then a $400 lease per month for 2 years with a 10,000 mile per year allowance. Okay, so I want you to let that sit in for a minute because that insinuates some things. And look, I'm not a car dealership mathematic thing. I don't know how to do this, but I want to just roll this by you real quickly. So let's talk about a 60-month note on a car, right? So if you buy a car for, call it $80,000, and you're going to come in at 60 months. What does that come out to? Like $1,200 a month, right? That's if you're buying it. I mean, $60,000 would be $1,000 a month in this scenario. So you mean to tell me, and if $60,000 is $1,000 a month, then $30,000 would be $500 a month, right? And I'm talking 500 all in and whatever. I understand there's some nuance, but just let's roll with this just for purpose of conversation. So $500 a month. Okay. So you mean to tell me that, and that's at $30,000. You mean to tell me that this car isn't going to be worth $30,000 at best at the end of this lease term of 2 years? You mean to tell me this car loses 5/8 of its value in 2 years? Damn. Like, if this is so bad, if you buy one of these cars, and again, I don't know how the math works. I'm just looking at it from kind of a more pragmatic point of view. So if you know better, I'm all ears as far as hearing how it works. But the way I see it is this: it's $80-something thousand. Just call it $80,000. Because remember, you have a $2,000 buy-in on this, but that's about $1,200 a month. Just if that's the number that we're talking about, there's a vast difference between $400 and $1,200. I mean, are leases typically a third of the value of buying the car? Yo, man, I don't know about that, but what I can tell you is at the end of that lease, if you got real used to paying $400 a month for a car, you ain't going to be able to afford this thing after 2 years if it's going to be valued any higher than about $30,000. I've never heard of a lease that was that cheap on an $80,000 vehicle ever. Like I usually be like $600 or $700 a month, right? Or am I just like completely off base here? I just look at it when I look at this as a purchase proposition. That scares the absolute hell out of me. I can't imagine. Could you imagine? I can't afford it. Could you imagine $80,000? So you fan out 80 grand for this car, drive around in it for 2 years and go, I want to try something else. And they go, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, we'll give you 30 grand for it. You mean to tell me this thing just costs $25,000 a year to own and drive? Holy Toledo. That's absolutely crazy. You have to remember that you're paying for the depreciation also, right? That's a hidden cost that you can't really calculate. But in this case, that would mean that you're $1,200 plus $2,000 a month in depreciation. Holy shit. That means this car is going to cost you $36,000 a year to own and drive for 2 years if you bought the thing. That is crazy numbers, right? So this is something that, I mean, again, I don't know how the math works. I'm just a bald dude that talks into himself on a camera on the YouTubes, but I can tell you that the way that this sounds to me is that they're being Dodge. They're not seeing a whole lot of residual value with this car. They're anticipating crazy train of depreciation with this vehicle. And that is what is spooking me the most about this car. Now, it has nothing to do with the fact that it runs on electrons. It has more to do with the fact that this thing will absolutely, it will bankrupt somebody to own one of these things, if that is the reality. So anyway, I want to talk to you guys about that, but I want to give shouts to everybody that has made it in the show so far. I'm saying facts. Saying now you got to pick up Waffle House for you and the wife. No kidding, right? Actually, man, we've been doing really good with diets. I've been cutting weight like crazy lately. Just eating a lot cleaner and a lot natural, no processed food, none of that stuff. Moto X is saying greetings. So I'm saying from Omaha, I have to drive 2.5 hours to Kansas City to the nearest Waffle House. Oh man, man, I don't know how you get, that's bad, man. I'm sorry to hear that. But my man knows how long it takes to get there. That's for sure. X is live saying, DM saying, I have an aversion to any 2023-25 Tavares era vehicle. True that. X saying it's actually pretty decent. Well, if you get rid of it in 2 years, yeah. So that's the whole point of it, guys. For $400, let me ask you this. I mean, just pragmatically, right? For $400 a month, I mean, that's a car note, right? Like you're not even talking about a very expensive car for $400 a month. You know, that's realistically basing it. If you were buying it, that's basing it off of like a $26,000, $27,000 car, right? So, I mean, it's a damn good deal for a car note. And look, a lot of people go, it's not a lease, it's a fleece. You know, they try to play it and make it like a lease is a bad thing. I don't always feel like that. A lot of times I feel like a lease is a really good option. You're not going to modify this car. You're not going to do anything to it. You're just getting in it to drive it, and you're paying for the convenience. Now, granted, you're only given 10,000 miles a year, but let's be fair. This is not going to be somebody's primary driver. It's a secondary car. And if it's not your daily, you know, it might be tough to get 10,000 miles a year on this thing. You know, so I don't really see that as being a problem here at all. Matter of fact, I see it as being a freaking hell of a good deal. And the guys over at Mac Hike clearly know something that I don't. And they're not sponsoring me on this. I mean, I'm happy to pick up the phone and talk to them if they call, but I think it's a hell of a good deal on this car. Even though it is an EV, I don't know how you're going to charge it. I'm sure there's some kind of other things that you have to do to accommodate this lease in terms of charging capacities and things like that. But damn, I mean, for $400 a month for like the cost of an economy car, you can have, or let's say a mid-sized sedan or, you know, smaller crossover, you can have one of these EVs. It's a lot of performance for very little money, comparatively speaking. But it just scares the living hell out of me because I see this number and I'm going, okay, I see what you're trying to do here. Is Dodge subsidizing the lease options on these cars? I wonder. I don't know. All I know is that X is saying, yeah, super sus, probably some bullshit in the lease. Probably would agree with that 100%, my man, for sure. So, man, I don't know, guys. That's something that I'm having I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around it. And it's a $2,000 buy-in, $400 a month, 10,000 mile lease per year. That's pretty common for like a crossover if you're not really putting a lot of miles. Again, I don't know how the back end of this looks. I don't know how the middle of it looks. I just know what it looks like. And that's why I wanted to use this as a thumbnail so we can talk about that. MotoX saying Transportation Secretary easing emission standards. Man, that might be a reason why they're trying to ditch him or at least get him in the lease pool pretty quickly. And the emission standards, look, they don't even need to be relaxed. They just need to be left alone. We are at, when it comes to an engineering point of view, when we're talking about total CO2 emissions, which is horse crap, by the way, it's a stupid metric to go by. But when we're talking about all emissions of a motor vehicle, I need y'all to understand how good we are today, how very good we are today with the internal combustion engine. We have reached a level of emissions that is so low that if you were to take a look at, and this was something that was done not that long ago, but it was done a little while ago, I guess, a 1965 Mustang Coupe with a 289, 4-speed or automatic, it doesn't matter. That car puts out more volatile organic compound emissions sitting in the driveway than a modern Mustang GT will put out going 50 miles an hour down the highway. Can you believe that? That's how good we have it. The old school car just sitting in the driveway with, the vents for the carburetor and all of that, that is more, that is putting out more pollution than the car driving down the road. The cars today are so good at cleaning up exhaust with the 400 cell catalytic converters, which have absolutely very little, if any, effect on performance whatsoever. In fact, GSX-R 1000 still has its cats on it. And with catalytic converters versus a full exhaust, there's not a lot that separates the two in even a high performance application with cats versus without catalytic converters. Everything about the modern engine is so good. They are unimaginably fuel efficient. What we need is we need better fuel quality. If you want cars to put out less emissions and be more efficient, we need to do away with 87 and 89 octane and only make 93 and 97 octane fuel. This would allow for globally much higher compression ratios. And because of the higher compression ratios, even when paired with boost, it would allow for more efficient cruising. And that is where the real meat of the efficiency and of the just the general pollutants that an engine puts out, that's what you're really talking about. That's how they're tested. So there you have it. I mean, if you want something to be better, make the entire thing better. 87 octane has no business in this world anymore. There is no engine that is made today that benefits from 87 octane. All of the engines today, and it wouldn't cost any more to make 93 and 97 octane gas. It's utility of scale. You make more, it costs you less to make each gallon. I don't understand. This is so easy. Anyway, the point that I'm getting to is that there's not an engine today that wouldn't benefit from higher octane gasoline. You go, well, if you put higher octane gasoline, you're just wasting your money. Not necessarily, because here's how this works. They are detuned to run on 87. These cars have 10, 11 to 1 compression ratios, and these are the pedestrian engines, guys. You get my truck, F-150 has 12 to 1 compression, guys. And trust me, whatever horsepower number that they're rating them at, it's easily 10% shy of what that engine puts out when you run good fuel through it. And look at the Hurricane. The Hurricane standard output 6-cylinder is a turd unless you run a minimum of 89 or 91 octane. It's this simple. You make better gas. Manufacturers don't have to neuter their engines. They can make engines, or if they want to neuter them, you're starting out with a much more efficient engine to begin with. Say a 13 to 1 4-cylinder with, say, 1 atmosphere of boost. You can make that work on, say, 93 or 97 octane. It's really easy to do. And it would be even better if you made that engine compatible with E85 with a sensed E85 system. So there's ways to do this. If you want to cut pollution and emissions, this is all you got to do. Make every car on the road E85 compatible and make every gas pump be 93 or 97 octane or 100 octane, whatever blows your hair back. Let's see. DM saying these new Chargers are bricked when they hit the dealerships. They'll sell about as good as the Hornet. That's a big yes. I agree with that too. I think that they had a lot of problems or a lot of teething issues with these cars right off the bat. And look, I am not an EV guy. I like EVs. I think in certain scenarios and situations they're phenomenal, but I'm not an EV guy. Like I don't go, oh, it's the new EV, can't wait. No, man, I'm not that dude. But I don't have anything against them. But the problem is that there are so many drawbacks to that car and so many question marks that are associated with it. And now we're looking at this lease deal that's come out. And again, I don't know shit from Shinola when it comes to the economics of a car dealership, lease versus buy. I'm not a finance guy, but man, I can tell you this, it scares the wits out of me to think that, somebody would price a car in a way that would make me think that this thing's only going to be worth $30,000 when I get done with the lease, number one. And number two, what if you did lease this thing, you get to the end of the lease, you've been used to paying $400 a month and now they want 6 or 8, right? I mean, how does that even work out? So it's just kind of, I don't get it, man. The math ain't mathing out for me right now. X is saying leasing is the only option for the Challenger EV. Or Charger EV. The depreciation will be Armageddon level financial disaster. And that's what I think we're seeing right now. I think you're seeing that kind of hidden in that lease price. Ryan said, I can't get behind the new EV Charger as cheap as they're trying to get us to buy into. I just have a hard time looking at that car. And again, this is not including infrastructure that you, I am sure, are going to have to put in place at your home to make that lease a viably convenient option for you. I don't know that it's there because that's probably another $1,500. You have to have the charger wired into your house. And yeah, if you don't have a house, this ain't going to be for you anyway. So man, there's a lot of stuff to unpack this thing, man. I don't know that I can get too hyped up over it. DM saying there is talk about all gas being the same, only the winter blend would be different. I would love to get involved in that conversation because here's the thing. Looking at it from an engineer's perspective, I cannot dumb down the modern engine, internal combustion engine, whether it's naturally aspirated or boosted on some level. I can't dumb that thing down from a calibration standpoint. You have to dumb them down to a point. And by the way, when I talk about dumbing down, what I'm saying is timing, the way that the knock sensors interact with your timing tables and with load variation. And so what I mean by dumbing down is you are riding the knock sensors with these new cars. You have bad knock sensor and it doesn't read right anymore. Let's say it just, your right bank doesn't really view knock as a thing anymore. This has happened, by the way. We've also had knock sensors that failed in the other direction where everything is knock, like just the slightest noise and they would go ape shit. Anyway, these new cars rely so heavily on knock sensors because of the whoopsies that can happen at a gas pump. You accidentally put 87 or, the tanker guy accidentally puts 87 in a 93 tank. And now all of a sudden you've got a Hellcat with a tank full of 87 octane. This is why, with the Mopar calibrations, most of the time there's a lot of false knock. They're set very sensitive. The knock sensors are in Mopar, so you chill them out a little bit. But you go to throw in the throwing boost at these things or whatever. And there's a fine line that you walk between safe and overly safe. And then on the other direction is, back in the day, guys would kill them all together. It's, again, just make the knock sensors not effective by setting the voltage threshold way too high. I mean, you can definitely do that. You'll never have false knock. But if you have real knock, then there's going to be a problem. Mopar calibrations calculate power enrichment differently than Ford calibrations. Ford calibrations, if you go in and mess with, here's a fun fact. The other one is catalytic converter overtemp protection. If you go in and play with that with a Dodge, nothing happens. If you go in there and play with that with a Ford, you screw up your power enrichment tables because it runs power enrichment based off of inferred catalytic converter temperature because it infers load based on exhaust gas temperature. Pretty smart, but anyway, it keeps components safe on the tuning end, and it's a pretty smart way to infer load also. So there's that. But anyway, other cars, if your base map is designed to run on 87 octane, then the rest of the car is going to have lower compression. It's just not going to be as efficient. Brotherhood of Soy. God, man, people are just not loving on the Mopar, the brand of Dodge, especially right now. I'm saying, yeah, it's crap. I'm saying it's weird they still make 87 octane. I never thought about it until you talked about it. These modern engines are so sophisticated. Yeah, there's absolutely no reason for 87 octane. Look, let's say you've got an 85 Chevy pickup with a 305 V8 and it's got 8.5 to 1 compression and it's a 175 horsepower engine. That engine, with its timing curve, was designed to run on 87 octane. It doesn't have any real compression. There's no reason to put a higher octane gas or better gas in it, but it wouldn't hurt it. And we're not talking about putting leaded gas in one of these things or anything like that. Far from it. We're talking about putting E10 modern 93 octane in that vehicle. I don't see where there would be a problem with the old stuff. It's not going to hurt a lawnmower to run on 93 octane. Oh, and by the way, there's a old wives' tale about gasoline that the higher octane burns more slowly, and that's why. That is absolutely false. That is 100% false. Gasoline burns. It has the flame front for 87, even 86 and 85 octane is the same speed as 91, 93, any of the 92s that you'll see floating around out there for the ethanol-free gas. Even for Sunoco GT260, the flame front is the exact same. The thought is that it burns more slowly so you can run more timing with it or something like that. No, they all burn at the same rate. The C8H8 molecule, which is the gasoline molecule, that's the formula for gasoline. C8H8. C8H18 is the chemical formula for any of the gasolines. It's the add pack that will allow it to have more knock resistance. That's it. So again, it just floors me why we still have the crap gas. Oh, it floors me why we still have the crap gas. Number one. Number two, cars that are designed to run on 87 octane don't always run all that well on 87 octane. My wife's Jeep, got 09 Wrangler with a 3.8 liter, better engine than the 3.6, by the way. I don't care what anybody says. It's a torquier engine. Anyway, a little hot rod of a Jeep, right? So this thing on 87 octane, it pings and rattles its ass off. And it's just how it is. And you can run 87 octane in it. Yeah, you can run 87 octane. I guess if it's just going to get you down the street you know, and that's the emergency gas that you're going to be running. But whenever I put gas in that thing, it always gets minimum of 89. Oh, and Buffy, my 2017 Ram 1500, I'm pointing over here like, it's right over here. You can see it right there. Buffy only gets 89 or premium. I ever put 87 in that truck. I data logged that truck with 87, and it was, I mean, those knock sensors were going batshit crazy. But it would make sense. That's a 10.5 to 1, 5.7 liter V8 that makes 400 whole ass horsepowers. And that's modern net. That's actually more like 415, 420 horse by the old money way of measuring horsepower. So they're not, these are not engines that you would have ever put 87 octane in. If you were to buy this engine as a crate engine, you wouldn't ever put 87 octane in this thing. And you can go, oh, well, on a dyno, they show that, guys, last time I run an engine on a dyno, I can't drive a dyno to Waffle House, right? Like, I got to drive a car or a truck or a motorcycle or a moped or whatever, but I ain't driving a dyno to anywhere. And the conditions are on a completely different scale, on a dyno versus, you know, in the vehicle. That drives me absolutely. Well, they used to show back in the day that on a dynamometer. Shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about. Let's see. Oh, lost you for a second. Oh, come on. Here we go. Xan, I honestly wonder how big of a hit Stellantis is going to take with the EV chargers. I would say Tyson-esque. I'd love to see their books after a full year of looking at R&D costs, marketing, and sales. They'll be asking for a buyout or a bailout, I should say, or both. Ryan saying, talk to an electrician friend. He said that his company, minimum 28 hundo to install the equipment, not including the charging label and stuff. Damn, exactly. That's what I was saying. I mean, some of them, 2800 is a good one. It's probably like the high amperage, like a 80, I guess it's 80 amp. That's probably an 80 amp, but might be a 60 amp. I don't know, but I'm telling you, it ain't cheap, man. That's a lot of money. It's a whole lot of money to invest in your home for your car. I mean, but it's only $400 a month. I mean, and guys, I don't mean it like that. I mean, $400, I can't afford another $400 a month anything. Okay. So, you know, who am I to say, oh, it's not that expensive. I can't afford it. So I can just, you know, I'm just over here talking shit. Right. But when you look at the sticker price of the car at $83,000, how does $83,000 translate to $400 a month in a lease? I don't know. Again, I'm not a car mathematician. I don't know how that works, but I can tell you that, I mean, I know I can divide 80,000 by 60, and I think it comes up to 1,200. I know that 60,000 divided by 60 is $1,000 a month. 30,000, which would be half of that, would be $500 a month. See what I'm saying? So are we based on $5,000 value? I don't know how that works. Martin saying the marketing of this car's name is almost the worst part. It's like they ate a Dodge stew and it shat out. Scat Pack, Daytona, Charger, Challenger, Muscle Car, Stage 1, Stage 2, E-Muscle. Don't forget that one. E-Muscle. Sounds like the name of a vibrator. The thing is that, look, in Charger, this is what I'm getting at too. And the problem with calling it the electric car, the Charger, is that it's somebody thought this would be a cute play on words. Like, oh, isn't it neat? It's the Charger, and you get it. You have to put a charger. You got to put a little beep into the thing. It's a Charger, get it? But it's a Charger. It's a Chargee, technically, not a charger. You don't use your car to charge anything. It gets charged. Okay, so it's a Charge E when you sticking in there. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. It's like this gross. It's just this weird feeling that you get when the dork. It's had to have been a chick too, man. Right? Like you can't let you lose your fucking man card if this was. Oh look, Frank, it's a charger. But it uses electricity. That's what I get out of that, right? So it had to have been a chick, right? She probably had a little, her teacup chihuahua or whatever in her tits while she was talking. It's a charger. Anyway, it's stupid. Actually, I might contact customer service at Chevron or Shell and inquire about 87 octane. Yeah, just ask them to get rid of it. Tell them I said it's okay to do that. X is saying, sounds like B needs to be in the Department of Energy. I would love to be. X is saying, when I put 87 in my 5.7, it runs like shit compared to 89 or 93. Look, the only time it makes sense, and I'll be honest with you, it's only because of price. It's not because of the performance. The only time it makes sense to run 87 in that vehicle, like our trucks, right, is if you have to, and you're going to be on very flat roads for a very long time, and you only have like $40 on you, and you got to put something in the truck to get where you're going, and you need to pump as much range as you can into that tank, then yeah, use 87. But there's no reason why 93 octane couldn't be the same price as 87. You cannot convince me that there would be any reason for there to be less, or for there to be more. It would cost any more than that. It wouldn't. Ryan's saying 87 octane in my Fiat 500 caused it to shift and run like shit. My whole lady put 87 in it. It's supposed to be 91 minimum. Oh yeah. And if your car is designed to run on premium and you put 87 in it on accident, in some cases, absolutely yes, you can cause irreparable damage to that vehicle. Especially if it's tuned and boosted. Yeah, you can absolutely, and that's what I'm talking about. You can absolutely frag motor if you find yourself in that type of a situation, the wrong gas in that car. Now, the modern cars, you have the knock sensors. It's going to lose its mind when it sees load because it's going to hear all the pinging. It's going to start yanking all the timing out of it. Fine, I get that. But damn, man, there's no need for it. Let's see. Southern Indiana saying, what up, everybody? What up, man? X saying, I got you. I'll send you the recording of the conversation. Yeah, man. Shit. Just look, contact me. Say, look, man, you got to talk to this guy. We need him. Department of Energy. My consulting fee is substantial, but well worth the price. So anyway, guys, wanted to bring this information to y'all. That's kind of it. I don't really have an opinion of this, aside from the fact that what I'm looking at is potentially some of the worst depreciation that has ever been recorded in modern history, right? I mean, I cannot believe that this car would depreciate on that level. 80 some odd $1,000 on a lease for $500, $400 a month. Almost, I keep wanting to say five, it's 400. Oh, Sovereign's in watching Stargate. Damn good movie. Damn. I loved Stargate when I was a kid, man. That was a good show. But yeah, that's the thing is that there's so much that having that car at that price in that environment, talking about a lease environment, that is so frustrating to me, because what's it going to look like when the hurricanes hit the showroom floors? Can we expect this level of commitment from Dodge with the Hurricane 6 cars? Because I'll tell you, I might not be a player on an EV, right? Like that ain't my flavor of cookie. But a Hurricane 6 car, top of the food chain and whatever trim level that's going to be, scat pack, you know, whatever that looks like. Is that going to come in at $499 a month or $399 a month with a $2,000 buy-in for a lease? Damn, man. I mean, that might actually be worth it because, and granted, you only get 10,000 miles a year, but this ain't your daily driver. And if you wanted a car that you could just have in the garage, talking about the Hurricane car now, if the Hurricane came at this price, that'd be pretty tough. I mean, think about it. You'd have a car that you can make content with, haul ass with. No, you can't tune it. I understand all that, but you're only going to be shackled with that thing for a couple of years. When you're done with it, see ya, and it's gone. And I think that would be okay with a lot of folks. And if Dodge, with all of my feelings about the Chargy, are out there for public consumption, but even with all of what I've said about that car in even the Hurricane form, as much as I don't like it, I might have to figure out a way to like it if it checks in at just that number that we're seeing with the EV. Because, I mean, how are you going to tell, think about this. How are you going to tell a Hurricane 6 buyer, oh no, we're going to make you pay more? And the Hurricane 6 buyer goes, yeah, but the EV's got way more power and it's way more expensive. Why? How are you going to make it that cheap, but not have the Hurricane be inexpensive? I don't know. See what kind of a problem this is causing? Like, this is a weird problem to have. Like, I'm cool. And again, this is Mac Haike's deal too. And very awesome folks over at Mac Haike. I mean, these are some of the coolest folks you could ever work with. I've done business with Mac Haike in the past. We've got some folks that are members of the channel that have worked or do work for Mac Haike. So I know these folks really well. I would never have a problem buying a car from them again. So they're not sponsoring this show. I just found this and wanted to bring it to you. But I'm looking at this and I'm going, damn, okay, if I walk into Mac Haike in a year with this ad and I go, hey guys, remember this? $83,000 car, $2,000 buy-in, $399 a month, 2 years, 10,000 miles. Can I get that on the Hurricane car? Knowing that I'm not going to be modifying it, the only tune that it would get would be anything from Direct Connection, so it'd be part of the warranty program. I go out once or twice a month, make some draggy hits, take the thing to an 8th mile track here and there, and that's it. And for $400 a month with a minor buy-in for a couple of years, I've got the latest Mopar with the latest engine. And if anything happens to it, who cares? It's not my car. It's not my kid. It's not my circus, not my clowns. If something pops or breaks because of tuning, in other words, that's a Direct Connection problem. You know, so all of this starts to make sense, you know, and I'm thinking maybe in a year when the new car, the new Hurricane hits, if they can work out a deal like that for a super cheap lease with mileage that is, who cares? You know, I'm not going to be driving the thing more than 6,000 or 8,000 miles a year, 9,000 on the high end. And now we're talking about I get 10,000 miles for $399 with a $2,000 buy-in. All I got to do is insure the thing, really. Now, granted, I got to figure out a way to charge it, but shit, even if it was on 110, I wouldn't drive the 110 volts, in other words. Even if it was on a 110 volt charger, the super long charger takes like a full day to charge the thing back up, or maybe even 2 days. What the hell do I care? This thing is going to be sitting in the garage most of the time, not doing anything anyway. Might as well be charging. See what I'm saying? So if I could get the same deal, though, on a Hurricane, well, then, yeah, you could go, dude, listen, I'm just going to put gas in the car, go for a spin, woo, have fun, turbo sounds, yay, draggy. Man, I could knock out 3 or 4 draggy hits with this car, probably run 1150, 1170 with it in every air condition that there is. talking about density, altitude, and all of that. I mean, it would just be like a mid 11-second car. Go out there, run the number, come home, eat some pizza. I don't know. What do you do with it after that? So anyway, we shall see. Let me catch back up with you guys. Our weather down here, by the way, is going absolutely crazy. It was like 80 something degrees today. And humid as hell. I was able to get the GSX-R 1000. I've been doing a lot of suspension tuning with it. And the Chris Moore Mafia tune in that bike is fucking money. Even with the stock head pipe and catalytic converter, that bike is spooky fast. Definitely stronger than what it was. Anyway, it's got this right here. It's got my face is just blown up. Let's see. Let me catch back up with you guys though. Oh yeah, Ryan. Yeah, the Stargate series was good stuff, man. DM saying Hurricane 6 car after they work out the problems and make all the parts out of metal or not plastic. I don't know, man. I don't even know how that's going to play in. Skids is in. What is up? And trust me, they're going to make as many parts out of that car as out of plastic as they can and try to keep the weight low. We're already spooked about that car now because of the weight to begin with. I mean, damn, the all-wheel drive car is going to be 4,600 pounds, 4,700 pounds is what my mathematical estimate, divide by the hypotenuse of the, right angle of the dangle, whatever. So I'm saying personally, I don't do a lot of driving myself. Got my car at 35,000 miles on it in 2016 and now just hitting 96 for 2025. Yeah, and in that type of a respect, it could work as a daily, some of these low mileage leases for not very much per month. Sovereign's checking out with skids. Let's see. Nega's saying 6'1" versus 6'4" Hemi. Oh, dude. Well, damn. Okay, look. Here's the thing. 6'1" with a 6-speed. Give me a Challenger with a 6'1", the 6-speed, 392 gears, and give me a Barton shifter in that thing. I do the clutch line mod in it, get rid of the restrictor, and throw about 2 degrees of timing at it globally and call it good. A long set of long tube headers and with no cats. And that would be with the stock cat back. And that would be freaking perfect. That to me is the perfect Mopar. That's the car that got me back into Mopar. And if I had my druthers, it would be black with silver stripes. Black with silver stripes. I'd have to probably put a set of CCW wheels on it. 9.5s up front, 10.5s out back, 295 45s out back, 275 45s up front, and just have a badass, fun, good-looking car that was just a riot to drive. That is one of my all-time favorites, or a Scat Pack core with a 6.4 with the same setup. I'm really getting a bit more nostalgic about manual transmissions these days. Skid saying, hearing rumors of a mid-sized car to battle the Stang, maybe TK has something up his sleeve. It ain't going to be Kaniskus, man. He is going to be dragged over to Dodge kicking and screaming if that's the case. And by the way, you got to remember Kaniskus back in 2014 said that he did not want Dodge to have anything to do with Mustang. In fact, it was more like, he's like, we build a big car. We build a big car. We have our own market. This is what we make. This is what it is. And they weren't going to move away from that. The W211/W212 platform, they just weren't going to move that far away from it. Which is what our cars are based on. Mercedes-Benz stuff. So anyway, getting back to it though, he's even said he does not want to play in that wheelhouse. It's like Mopar is a heavyweight, Mustang is a middleweight. Heavyweight cannot cut weight and get into a cage with a middleweight. I mean, you're putting a corpse in there with a fine-tuned killing machine, right? So that's kind of what would happen if Dodge, I think at this stage of the game, tried to do something. They would have to build something very small, all-wheel drive, and use the Hurricane engine platform, and it would be a completely different and completely new platform that wasn't starting off with a heavyweight frame package, a heavyweight platform, I should say. All that architecture on the STLA large platform, which is what the new Charger is based on, it's too damn heavy. And don't forget, it's a Chimera platform. Can't let that slide, boys. Chimera platform means that it is designed to run electric. It's designed to accommodate an EV platform, a internal combustion engine platform, and potentially the hybrid platforms. So you're not talking about something that is bespoke to EV or bespoke to internal combustion. This thing's got to be able to do all of it, which means it's not going to be able to do both of them perfectly. And so it's going to be heavy for an ICE platform. And that's the whole beef of this. So to do it right, you can't start with the STLA large. Remember, it's a heavyweight. You try to drag that thing into middleweight territory, it's not going to get there. You have to have an all new components product with the Hurricane 6, with all-wheel drive, look, make it to where it'll accommodate a V8, put one of these new American-made 6.4s or 5.7s in it if you want to have an option for that just to have the sound. I'm all right with that. Cool. Dig it. Put it in the car. But that's what it's going to take for them to be able to compete with Mustang. But here's the thing. Do you want to compete with Mustang? Because here's the problem. Dodge is in a unique place, though. Okay, my brain is literally forking out right now, so I got to pick one side. I want to talk about Dodge is in a unique position right now. Mustang is catching a lot of flack because the OTA, so the over-the-air update protocol for the new operating system in the Mustang, the SV650, it basically means that aftermarket cannot tune that car. That's a big problem. So the only people that can tune the new car, not talking about with piggybacks or anything like that, the only entity that can tune the new Mustang is Ford. Now you can put a supercharger on it, make 800 horsepower if you want to. There's that. But the only way you can do that is through a Ford dealership. Okay, so you got one option, and that is to put the freaking kitchen sink at it and have 800 horsepower. Okay, and it has a warranty, so I'm starting to figure out where's the problem here. Still nanified, but you get what I'm saying. If Mopar did the same thing with the Hurricane, because right now, the Hurricane, same problem, you can't tune it. Unless you've got piggybacks or something like that, you can't tune that car. And so because of that, if Mopar had a solid direct connection, say 93 octane only tune for this thing, or an E85 compatible in a box for this car, whatever, do fit whatever it works out to be, that would make sense. I'm not saying cut out the aftermarket, but if you want to police what's going on with your product and you want to be able to offer a warranty along with it to make it that much more enticing for folks, if they want to modify their car to come to you to do this, this is how you would do it. And but anyway, to go up against the Mustang, Kaniskas knew back over 10 years ago that was never going to be an option unless they had a different platform. And that option came and went in 2018, remember, was supposed to be the end of the LX platform. And then they re-upped it to 2020, whatever it was. And then their final renegotiation for Brampton, Ontario was for obviously 2023. So anyway, lots of stuff going on there. Let's see. Sovereign saying leasing makes more sense, especially when we're talking about an $80,000 car for $400 a month. Ryan saying, what about Chrysler doesn't look good at the moment with their offerings? Pretty much everything right now. Oh, Sovereign 110 at 12 to 20 amps. Yeah, that they would take forever. We've been having a few wet days so far here in NorCal. Oh, DM saying I have 220 and an RV setup, but for most people probably don't have an extra 220 for a vehicle. That's exactly the point. And with 220, you can run a minimum of 40 to 60 amps. And I know you could hot rod. There's ways to make I think you have to pair up 220 for the 80 and 120 amp, maybe. Shit, I can't remember. Anyway, but yeah, there's a lot that I could say, you could do it, but again, it's just an added extra expense, and that's an added extra expense on top of what is in essence already a very expensive car, unless you're leasing it. And I'm having fun with it too, man. Oh, Sovereign liking the ride along with the Yamaha. Yeah, that little R7. So we'll be talking about the Yamaha versus, well, we're coming up on an hour, guys, so we're going to need to wrap it up here pretty quick. But for the Two Wheel Tuesday coming up, we've got a bit of a chat. I want to get you guys involved in this. Battle Royale, baby. Suzuki GSX 8R versus Yamaha R7. Pick a side. Which do you go with? Man, I got to tell you, I'm wishy-washy on this. The GSX 8R has got a lot of good things going for it, but so does the R7. I don't know. We'll be talking about that on Tuesday, though. But I want to get with you guys real quick, and then I got to check out. We got about 4 minutes, 3.5 to go. Oh, looks like Sovereign took somebody out. I like it. Good job, my man. Try to catch up with you guys real quick. Sovereign saying 4,700 plus pounds for the ice car. Yeah, it's going to be, God, thing's going to be heavy. DM's liking the Yami. Yeah, I tell you what, man. Let me tell you, DM, and I'll get more into this on the Two Wheel Tuesday show. Man, there's some spots kind of real close to where I live, on ramps, off ramps, or I can get the bike over on the side of the tire and collect a lot of speed going through some of these on ramps and off ramps. I put you like this: my entering speed when I hit slack throttle can be as high as 120, like 110, and if I'm pushing it, 120. And on the exit side, I mean, when I start rolling onto the throttle, when I'm rolling onto the throttle and I've already picked my line and I've already hit what I would see as an apex, and I'm just starting to stand the bike up. I mean, I've got exit speeds of about 135 to 145. So I've got some spots where I can have fun with these bikes on the side of the tire and just let it rip. And I'm telling you, I was at the point with that R7. Remind me to talk about all the technical glitches I had with making that video, by the way. Because that was a nightmare. By the way, that was take like number 7 or 8 trying to make that video. So anyway, I'll talk more about that too. It's kind of funny. It's just one of those things. It's like, it's a fun job, but it's still a job when you're doing content like this. And I want to give you guys cool stuff to talk about, but man, sometimes when the freaking snafus get rolling, baby, it just turns into a cluster. So anyway, I want to talk about that too. Just remind me on the Two Wheel Tuesday show to tell you all the mess that came with that. But anyway, I almost, when I got back to stub cycles, and keep in mind, these guys are the best in the business. It's a family-owned business. These guys are the best folks you could ever hope to work with. If I would have just said, "Hey Hunter," or "Hey Rob," let everybody know that I'm going to be about another hour with this bike, they'd have been like, "Cool, put gas in it when you bring it back." that's where we're at with this. This is how cool of a relationship, and how great of people that people are over at Stubbs. The owner, the folks, Tommy in the service department, Hunter, Rob, everybody out there, just such good folks, man. And there's a spot over here by the shop where I was thinking I want to get this bike over here and do some high speed runs with the R7. And I'm not talking about we're going to hit it going 85. No, I want it because the R7 comes with S22s from the factory. And again, there's an update coming but sorry guys, we got into motorcycles. And once I get started on this, I've got to finish the thought. I just put the S23 on the back of the GSXR 1000. It's got an R11 up front with an S23 out back. It is the best combination ever, 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 ever. The S23 is like bubblegum on the back of that bike. I was out on it today. It is that good. I'm not even going to lie. It is so good. So in thinking, just keep that in the back of your mind. The R7 comes with S22s, which are such good tires that it's just S23 system, a little bit better than S22. But on the R7, it's going to stick like it is Velcroed to the road. There are a couple of long sweepers and a couple of on-off ramps that I wanted to hit this with the R7. I was thinking I could hit these at well over 100 miles an hour and probably do a trick where if I've got the bike over and I'll reach over with my left hand on left-handers and just kind of tickle the tarmac. I was thinking, dude, I could absolutely be entertained for like ever with this R7. That's how hard I wanted to ride that bike because I felt like I could just park the thing at wide open throttle and never worry about what the bike was going to act like, what the suspension was going to do, what it was going to feel like on the side of the tire. It would just be tucked forward, line, and just, goof off with it, man. And if I don't want to get too sidetracked, but the R7 was that good of a bike and that confidence inspiring, especially the fact it came on S22s. So, which is a Bridgestone tire, by the way. I'm not into bikes. The tires are a huge part of a motorcycle. It's a part of the anatomy on a motorcycle that's every bit as important as what kind of suspension do you have? This, that, everything else. The tire is the only thing that I don't care what the bike is. If it has good tires on it, you can do whatever you want with it. And S22s are for the street as good as it gets. Even for track day use, for, sprints and stuff like that, they're still really good. Anyway, we'll talk more about it on Two Wheel Tuesday, but it was really that good. And so it's stuff like that I wouldn't be thinking about doing with the GSX-8R. So we'll talk more about that. Sorry, I will get absolutely sidetracked on bikes because y'all know me with bikes. Exactly. X is saying Dodge might be doing the hypotenuse of their ass with these lease numbers. I'm wondering if they're subsidized. Sorry, 6.1 SRT8. Yeah. And they are the best looking engine to look at too. You pop the hood on a 6.1 car and it's like, oh yeah, that's where your money's been spent. X saying, hit that like button. Yeah, hit the like button, guys. Yeah, Sovereign. Tim's at Ram. He has got all of Ram to deal with. And I know some folks that have talked to him specifically about that. And in their conversation, even Kaniskis has said, you don't want me to be, he doesn't want it. There's so many other headaches that come if he's over Ram, Dodge, and everything else. Then it becomes a political game, and he can only focus on one brand and bringing one brand either into existence, into a certain light in terms of marketing and positioning, or to redevelop a brand image. You can only do that for one brand at a time when you're in his spot, because you have really got to pick and choose your battles. And you've got one or two vehicles that you can develop throughout the course of like a 5-year period. So if Dodge has already shot their wad when it comes to development and their 5-year projected return on investment when it comes to the Charger, Dodge is out of the conversation now. There won't be any development funds because remember, each brand has to be self-sufficient, at least in that respect, right? So unless the parent company wants to shove a ton of money in development, there's no reason to even bother with Dodge. They're done for the next 5 years. Ram's not. And so you've got more latitude with Ram on several different fronts. So I got to slap the trolls. Absolutely. DM saying Kaniska's turning out CEO position twice. That's a big red flag. Yeah, there's too much politics once you get to his level. And here's the problem. You get mired up in that crap. You know, we need your approval for some thing that nobody really cares about. You have to pick and choose your battles. And in this case, he doesn't need the money. He's doing this to try to raise up a brand. And Ram is the only one with the latitude that's going to be able to allow him to work that way. X saying that means that B's live stream gets pushed out more. Yeah, hit the like, comment, subscribe. Hey, listen, if you've made it this far in the show, a little over an hour, if you like the content, consider subscribing. That helps the channel out a ton. By the way, if you are new to the show, welcome. Glad to see you around. My channel is really not much more than a background noise generator. So we do a live show at least twice a week, once on Saturdays, which is more car related, and one on Tuesday, which is Two Wheel Tuesdays, which focuses on motorcycles. So if you like that kind of stuff, come on back. Typically we'll go live between 7 and 9. That's Central Standard Time. And hit the bell if you like this stuff. If you can't catch it live, you can always catch it after the fact. I know a lot of folks will have this show on in the background. It's good to have just, it's just car related white noise, if you will, background chatter. I know folks will put this on and then they'll conk out, they'll hear my voice for about 10 minutes and then they're already fast asleep. But it's just something to, I know machinists, truck drivers, guys doing their yard, working in the garage, changing the oil, doing whatever. A lot of folks will just have this on in the background and it's just car related noise coming out of a speaker somewhere. So, and what's going on, guys? Hopefully your projects are going well. And truckers out there, be safe. Crazy people out there, But anyway, if you like it, please consider subscribing. It helps the channel out a ton. And with that, guys, I'm going to have to wrap it up here pretty soon. Let me catch back up with you guys real quickly, and then I have got to get back to work. Let me see here. Let's see. Bear with me. Oh, DM, didn't Dodge have a little Shelby turbo car in the 90s? Yeah, so you had the Daytona, the Shelby Daytona, the 2.2 liter. That 2.2 liter turbo was in the Omni GLH, the GLH S, the Daytona S, the 600, which was a little sedan. You'd probably know it as a 600 ES convertible. Quick little car. I had a coupe. But yeah, I mean, they did really well. Spirit RT, fun car. The Neon, yeah, SRT for me. Y'all know I've got a huge soft spot always for the SRT 4. Any of the smaller, lightweight hot rod, even the front wheel drive stuff. Yeah, a lot of guys, front wheel drive. I love front wheel drive hot rods. Yeah, Summer, didn't the Spirit get the 2.5 later on? I can't remember. I think it did. But yeah, the 2.2 was a fun, and that led into the 2.5, and then that led into the 4-valve cars, and then that led into what would end up being the SRT4. Fun fact, though, the 2.5 turbo was offered in minivans with a 5-speed. I knew a guy that his parents had one, and that thing was a tire smoking thing. Like, that thing would absolutely haul ass. And there was a guy for a while that was campaigning one, drag racing it. It's pretty fast. But yeah, no, there's definitely some cool stuff that came from there's definitely some cool stuff that came back in, back in the 80s when a lot of folks thought that V8s were going away. Dodge was at the forefront, and they had some really cool little hot rod cars that, lack of a better way of putting it, would put a V8 kind of in a humble seat. So just saying. But guys, with that, I got to wrap it up. Listen, get out there and do something cool for somebody. Chances are they need it way more than you know. Catch you back on Tuesday for Two Wheel Tuesdays, where we're going to be talking about the cage match between the Suzuki GSX 8R and the Yamaha R7. Lots to talk about with that lineup. And also, we're going to keep trying to figure out what to do with those super mates. I don't know. And I'll give you some more updates on the GSX R1000 that I am growing to like even more and more. So, and yes, a troll count was one. Sovereign Knight came in and just went absolutely lightsaber on that. So good job with that. Oh, Donald's in, checking in. Lights AB, I saw a 77 Cowie KZ1000 at the Conroe Swap Meet. 5,000 looked fairly nice. Check it out. Send me some pics. Yeah. But with that, guys, I got to wrap it up. Hope to catch you on the next one. Thanks for stopping by, guys. Take care.